Pakman of the David Pakman Show did an interview with Dave Rubin, and we are breaking that down bit by bit. We are going to cover every little chunk that we see as a story. We've already done 2 of them. Here is another one. So in this one, effectively what happens is David Pakman takes a very popular question from the viewers saying, hey, your interview style seems to cater to these people by you not challenging them, and it seems to be almost on purpose. And he's asking why do you have this interviewing style where you don't challenge anybody, no matter how fallacious their comments are, no matter how stupid they are, no matter how much they can be debunked, no matter how much they are factually incorrect by every metric ever.
Criticism of your interviewing style, and as it generally goes, the criticism is there are people who go on the Rubin Report, they say things that are demonstrably untrue, or at minimum highly deceptive, and Dave Rubin doesn't challenge them. So let me just sort of give you the opportunity to explain what your approach is and what underlies what some might perceive as not challenging guests when maybe they deserve to be challenged.
Yeah, well, first, can you give me an example of that?
Sure. So, like, for example, when you had David Horowitz on and he said Obama's a communist, and he did include it in a sentence where he said a lot of things that were untrue. You could have, I guess, conceivably picked out any of those things, but it was just sort of allowed to slide, where if you had a different style, you might have said, can you tell me what Obama has done that makes him a communist in his legislation, or whatever the case may be? I guess that's one example.
Okay, so So first off, David Horowitz saying that Obama's a communist, that's his opinion of what he thinks about Obama. I mean,
of course,
I don't know that you could say.
It's factually debunkable, though, right? You could say, well, if someone is a communist, there must be something you can attribute to them that would be communistic.
Well, I think I'm not David Horowitz's lawyer or arbiter here, but I think he would argue that the policies that Obama put in place, like Obamacare, whether you agree or not, or other things, or large taxes and things like that, that he would view those as communist ideals, let's say.
But listen, the point here being, look, David Pakman breaks it down perfectly, and I think that Pakman did a good job in this interview, and that's why we're breaking it down. But what he says is he tells them, my style is very different from yours. Why do you feel that it's good, and do you feel that you leave people unchallenged sometimes and whatnot? And then Dave Rubin, he goes, okay, can you give me an example that he tried to gotcha David Pakman? He tried to gotcha him, and I'm so glad that Pakman had an example, because if he didn't have an example, I probably would have had my head explode because of the amount of bullshit that goes on the show. And he brings up this example, which is purely amazing. I love this example. David Horowitz, who I believe was a liberal turned conservative Trump supporter, so woo, fascist right there. But anyways, David Horowitz called Obama a fucking communist. A communist. Let's look at that. Is that factually correct based on any merits, anything at all whatsoever? Absolutely not. Oh, he's a communist because of Obamacare. What the fuck are you talking about? There are still millions of people who don't have health insurance, number one. Number two, the for-profit industries, they stay intact. And number three, it's literally an individual mandate that says, hey, go get insurance from these insurance companies, or I'm going to tax you for not having health insurance. So it's literally a gift to these corporations. How is that communism, you fucking moron? It's not. The private sector growth. In communism, there is no fucking such thing as a private sector. So hey, if you was a communist, you would think that the private sector would shrink massively, because a communist, the only thing that exists is a public sector, because the government has a command economy, and therefore they would control everything in the economy. But the private sector had massive gains that W. Bush didn't see for shit, nothing. He had like I believe it was 800,000 jobs disappear towards the end of his presidency. Obama had consistent hundreds of thousands of jobs growth in the private sector. You had the stock market get unprecedented gains when in comparison to George W. Bush, not with the other presidents, but with George W. Bush. So by those same merits, you would have to say that Bush would be a communist, because in my opinion, it seems to be the case that Obama had contributed more to the private sector than Bush did. So this is an absolutely fallacious claim beyond belief. That is so ridiculous. Not even Alex Jones could say it. Actually, no, I take that back. Alex Jones did say it, but that's not a good example. He's a moron. But I'm sorry, I kind of went off there. But that's the truth, and Dave Rubin's a hack. What's up, guys? It's Saul Hill here. You guys are watching The Progressive Voice. Make sure you guys click subscribe down below. We're fighting Donald Trump tooth and nail, and we need your help.